The Big Bang stopped Joe Joyce in 6 rounds on a weekend, bust up his eye, and the ref decided to wave it off on the advice of the doctor. Somehow, the Deontay Wilder fanatics are now trying to shoehorn Luis Ortiz into the situation. They're saying that this proves Ortiz was an elite heavyweight when he fought Wilder because he was a 39-year-old southpaw, just like Zhang is. Of all the pea-brain nonsense I've heard from the PBC cult members over the years, this might actually top the lot. It's incredible that these people are totally incapable of seeing the obvious. Not all 39-year-old southpaws are created equally. Zhang is much better than Luis Ortiz ever was, and that statement is based on the fact that he has a much better resume than Luis Ortiz, both amateur and pro. These are Zhang's amateur credentials. He medaled at several national, regional, and global tournaments. The 2 most prestigious global amateur tournaments are the World Championships and the Olympics. That's where all the elite amateurs in the world duke it out for supremacy. Zhang won 2 bronze medals in the World Championships in 2007 and 2009, and a silver medal at the Olympics in 2008. He also competed in the 2012 Olympics. Among his amateur wins were victories over the likes of Andy Ruiz and Joseph Parker. Now let's compare that to Luis Ortiz's amateur credentials. He won absolutely nothing at any of the big tournaments. No Olympic medals, no World Championship medals, nothing. Ortiz was a longtime member of the Cuban national team without succeeding at the top international level. And if you're wondering about this silver medal at the World Cup, the Amateur Boxing World Cup was a team competition, meaning you don't even need to win your fight. As long as your team wins the most fights overall, you still get a medal. It's completely meaningless, so we can discount that. Some people might try to use the excuse that the competition to make the Cuban Olympic and World Championship teams is more fierce than it is in other countries. But if he had managed to get into those tournaments, he would have won medals. Well, first of all, Ortiz boxed as an amateur for about 20 years. 20 years! The World Championships were held 6 times, and the Olympics were held 4 times from 1996 to 2008. So he had more than enough time to medal at the 2 big tournaments if he was good enough, but he wasn't good enough. That's the bottom line. He managed to qualify for the World Championships once in 2005, but what happened? He got dropped in the first round, outpointed, and knocked out of the competition by Alex Povanov in the quarterfinals. You can watch it right here on YouTube. Ortiz turned pro in 2010 at the age of 30, and in the 13 years since, his best ever win was against Bryant Jennings in 2005. That's it. There is literally nothing else on his resume. Now look, I'm not saying Ortiz is a bad fighter. Not at all. He's a solid heavyweight. But this idea that he was an elite fighter was based on nothing but PBC hype. There was no substance to it whatsoever. It was a myth concocted by Al Heyman to try and bolster Deontay Wilder's incredibly weak resume. And people bought into it. And this idea that he was a boogeyman is a myth as well. He was offered $5 million, which was later up to $7 million, to fight Anthony Joshua in 2019. 12 times as much as his previous highest purse. And he turned it down. What kind of boogeyman does that? Now, I'm not saying Zhang is the best thing since sliced bread either, but his resume is way better than Luis Ortiz's. I already went over his amateur record earlier, and as a pro, he lost a narrow decision to Filip Hrgović, which many people count as a win, and he just beat Joe Joyce. In the past year alone, he's managed to easily surpass anything Luis Ortiz has done in his 13-year pro career. And it's not like Zhang has done anything amazing, it's just that Luis Ortiz set the bar very low. I expect Zhang to lose more fights, but I also expect him to pick up 1 or 2 more good wins as well if he's given the opportunity.